Sports Talker Nation. Welcome back once again. It's your host, the G-Man, as we continue with our 2016 team-by-team fantasy preview. Today we're going to talk about the Oakland Raiders, and good fantasy options abound for the Raiders. I do think they're going to be a much better team. Ironically, because of that, I think Derek Carr's numbers are going to take a little bit of a hit because I think they're going to be more competitive, not have to throw the ball as much. And I think the more they trust him, the more they're going to let him throw the ball, which may lead to a few more interceptions. But I do think he's the real deal. So let's start there. I think Derek Carr is real close to a number one quarterback. A back end number one quarterback, but a number one quarterback. I'd probably put him right outside that top 12. Again, I haven't done my individual rankings, and we will certainly post that when we do. But I think Carr is a viable option to have on your team and better than just a bye week replacement. Latavius Murray, to me, is just a guy, but in today's NFL, with the number of carries he's going to get and the wide open offense that Carr, Cooper, and Crabtree will set up, I do think he's probably a solid number two running back. He'll have a couple of monster weeks because he does have great speed, but overall, you're not going to win a championship because of Latavius Murray, but you could do much worse than him with your number two. The only other running back of note there, they did draft DeAndre Washington, who is a rookie. He's more lottery ticket, pass receiving type, and with that offense, they are going to throw the ball quite a bit, so who knows if he carves out a role for himself, but he's really just a real late end. He's not even a handcuff. Tywan Jones would be the backup, and I don't think he's proven anything to me over the course of his career that would make him worthy of a pick for me. Wide receiver, totally different story. Amari Cooper, clear number one receiver. That's higher than most people will have him. I don't care. I think he's a top 10 in that 8 to 10 range wide receiver. I think his numbers are only going to get better. I think he's going to add more catches to that big play capability that he already showed. I wouldn't be surprised with 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns, maybe even more than that from a yardage perspective. So he's a number one to me. Michael Crabtree is probably a late two to me. I think he's going to catch 80 balls for 1,000 yards, and he'll probably only have in that 6 to 7 range of touchdowns. That's not what he does. He won't get the long pass, but he's a possession guy. He will catch the ball, good hands, decent speed, excellent ad for them. The only other receiver of note on their team would be a Seth Roberts. Avoid. He's not even a handcuff late guy. Clive Walford, I guess, would be their de facto tight end. They have a couple guys who can all play a little bit. Michael Rivera is still around. They drafted Walford to be a big gun. They drafted him to be like Eric Ebron. And unfortunately, last year, in a negative way, he was like Eric Ebron. I don't see the breakout coming. I think he's got all the talent and he's fast, but I wouldn't put my eggs in his basket. There's too much value at the tight end position this year for me to go after a guy like that. So I would avoid him. He's not even in my top 25. From a defensive perspective, I think the Raiders are absolutely a top 8 fantasy defense. They're going to turn the ball over. They're going to get tons of sacks just from their front line, and with that pressure, it's going to lead to more interceptions on the back end, especially with Sean Smith being added to the mix. So there are lots of options out there from the Raiders. Don't be shy and gobble them up on draft day. And with your 2016 team-by-team fantasy preview of the Oakland Raiders, I'm your host, the G-Man, and I am out.